Deb, honey, why don't you show them what you've been working on?
Okay. Yeah. So I've just been practicing some landings. So if I did like a jump off the ropes type thing, I could sort of land in like a somersaulty type thing. I could just mark it for you. Reset. Anyway, and then my character is Liberty Bell. She's the all-American hero. She's kind of like the role model for kids. So I could then say something like, be all that you can be, or like, say no to dope, that kind of thing. I am a mom, so I know how important it is to be patriotic. But I'm still kind of working on it, so.
This way, Glenn. Okay.
It's got to be so fun to watch it back now for you, now that the experience is done with.
Yeah, it is fun. Weirdly, I usually have trickle-down self-loathing where I'm like, I was terrible in that scene, and that means the scene's terrible, and the show is terrible, and everything's terrible. But this I'm so excited about that I can comfortably watch it for the first time ever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky. I've gotten to see a couple of episodes, and now the entire world, because it's Netflix. So everyone's going to see it, like, on Friday. That's crazy, right? Everyone
I know.
binge watch it.
Yeah, it's terrifying. I know. We were doing press in Paris, and someone from, like, Turkish Instagram was like, how will you feel that your whole life will be over on June 23rd?
Your whole life?
Well,
a lost in translation moment, you think?
No, I think she meant what she said. Yeah.
Do you have friends who are trying to throw like little watching parties or something like that?
No, I think I would be too nervous for that. I think my husband and I have a place up in the Berkshires in Massachusetts, and I'm just gonna go hide in the woods and talk to squirrels and sing to trees.
I feel like you're gonna run into a couple hikers who maybe have seen the show, so I don't think you're gonna be able to escape it.
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, when this first came along, obviously you had a history with the creators, right? So can you tell us a little bit about how you worked with them in the past?
Yes. So I knew Liz Flahive and Carly Mensch first as playwrights. I was born and raised in New York, and I started out and do primarily theater. And I had done a workshop of one of Liz Flahive's plays. When a theater's deciding if they want to do a play, they'll typically do a week-long workshop. And so I did a workshop of one of her plays, and Edie Falco played my mom, and I was like, this is the role, this is amazing, I love this play, I can't wait to do this play. And then I did not get cast in the play. And I was like, well, life is over.
Boo.
And yeah, and I was so sad. And then Nurse Jackie came along, and Liz wrote for Nurse Jackie, and Edie obviously starred in it. And I was like, well, I'm screwed. I'm gonna bomb this audition. They don't like me. And then I got the part. So I knew Liz through that, and then they told me they were writing Glow, and I freaked out. Yeah.
I mean, that experience working with Edie Falco, can you give us a little bit about that, whether it was in the play or during the series, which was so fun, Nurse Jackie?
Yeah, Edie does this crazy thing that I think she's like, she seems like she's 100 years ahead of her time acting-wise. I feel like she, typically it's the man that's allowed to have like the inner storm going on, and on the surface he's just like, pass me the salt. And the women are the ones supposed to be like, what? Like, crying, but a pretty cry face. And Edie has that internal storm that I think you're used to seeing with like a De Niro. I think she's like the female De Niro. I think she's a genius.
Did you pick up any advice from her? Did you glean any tips?
Yeah, to be kind to everybody. She's like Mother Willow on set. Every day she would have like her 2 kids in her lap in the hair and makeup chair, and then like her 2 rescue dogs under the chair till the action. She was incredible.
That's a great set. And Glow, now were you familiar with the first Glow, the first rendition of Glow?
No, I'm far too young to be. No, so there was a real show called Glow, which is an amazing YouTube rabbit hole if you haven't gone down it already.
Definitely, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, so it was a show that I think was on Saturday mornings, and I think it was very popular with children and a certain kind of man. Yeah, it was like actresses and who learned how to wrestle, and they came up with crazy characters. There was rapping involved, and sketch comedy. it's crazy and all over the place, and they dressed like this.
Yeah, I mean, this show is a bit of an actor's dream, I feel like. You get to live out all those sort of fantasy moments. You know, usually these
Yeah.
days it's very dry and cut and drama, and this
Yeah.
is like you guys get to act.
Definitely. You know, I went to Fordham at Lincoln Center, and we studied theater of the absurd there, and we were making the craziest faces and the craziest shapes with our body and allowed to be as ugly and loud as possible. And then I got out of school, and you know, for auditions, they want you to be as quiet and squinty and sexy and tiny and small as possible. And it was just the antithesis of why I became an actor. And I didn't know anything about wrestling prior to researching Glow, and it was the first time I was like, oh yeah, theater of the absurd, like making the craziest faces and shapes possible. There is kind of a Barbie Coliseum feeling to it, where you're sort of playing to the mezzanine, and you know, like The Rock, when The Rock raises his eyebrow, there's nothing small about that. It reads from the top of the stadium. So I feel like it really lends itself to theater. In a way that really excited me.
Yeah, what'd you feel about your character that you turn into, Liberty Bell? You know, the persona that you take on. Was there anybody that you watched to sort of get that demonstration?
Well, once I got a feel for what the original Glow was, I realized that it had so much to do with the originality of each individual woman and her own imagination. So I was like, oh, my assignment is to come up with my own character. So I sort of tried to distance myself and stop watching the original ladies to kind of come up with my own person. So Liberty Bell is my wrestling character. She's the all-American hero. And every wrestling match has a face and a heel, good guy, bad guy. And I was the face, and Allie Bree's the heel, the Russian Zoya the Destroyer.
You're like the John Cena, you would say.
Yeah, we often audition for the same parts, John and I. So yeah, the All-American hero, I was like, okay, I think she's gonna be like a kind of Blanche Dubois, Miss America on crack. Yeah.
I mean, you pointed to Allison Brie. I mean, you guys are so great on camera together. Did you guys know each other before you did this role, or how was the testing process?
Yeah, we did not know each other. I had auditioned, I think, 3 times already for Glow, and then was in Toronto shooting this show, American Gods. And Alice, they called me and said they want you to test again, and we're going to fly Allison Brie to test with you in Toronto.
She came to you. Nice.
Yes,
I like that.
which was, for my social anxiety, terrifying, because already, like, a new friend date with a woman in New York City, like, my brain is like, it's as if she's flying to Toronto and being forced to have lunch with you. And this was really happening. So I was like, hi, nice to meet you. Thank you for coming to Canada. I'm so sorry. And then putting that energy into auditioning together. But she could not have been kinder. And we immediately felt a connection with each other. And one of our audition scenes was a wrestling sequence.
Yeah, you guys had to go at it early on. Okay.
Yeah. And you could tell we both wanted the part so badly, because we were, making polite small talk with each other. And we're like, is it okay if I throw you across the room? And then you can grab my hair, and then we'll get on and we went for it. Yeah.
I mean, you guys must have been pretty invested at that point. I'm sure you guys were excited when you found out that it was going to be you two.
Well, then we had to audition again. I was getting married in a week.
No pressure.
No pressure. And they were like, they're gonna fly you out one more time to audition with Allie in Los Angeles. And this was now like 5 days before my wedding. And my poor husband was like, good luck. I really hope you get it.
He's like, I got this. I'll take the flowers.
Yeah, walking down the aisle sobbing, being like, no, this is what I value. I do wish I had gotten that part. But yeah, and then the Wednesday before my Saturday wedding, they called me, and yeah, I got the part. Yeah.
Well, it all paid off. The show is so fun to watch. I mean, this whole group, the whole cast is amazing. It's incredible. Can you tell me a little bit about meeting all the
so there's 14 women in the cast, and Marc Maron.
We're all here. Yeah, exactly.
Real feminine energy coming from Marc Maron.
I like that, the forward crossed arms.
Yeah.
Typical guy.
I love that the seam goes right across his face here. He would not.
We planned that out.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Sorry, Mark.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, the way we met each other was wrestling training. We did I guess about a little over a month of wrestling training before we started shooting. And
They
then,
brought in some actual wrestlers,
yes,
the guy?
Chavo
or-
Guerrero Jr., whose uncle trained the original Glow Girls. And on the first day of Glow training in the 80s, put one of the girls in a sleeper hold to show all the girls how
Until she
serious
fell
he was.
asleep, though.
Yes, until she passed out. But Chavo was very different and could not have been kinder. I think I had this idea that wrestlers and pro wrestlers would have a huge ego attached to their persona and be, pissed off that a bunch of 14 women actresses were sort of fake learning to wrestle, but they could not have been kinder. Kia Stevens is the only one of us who's a real pro wrestler. She wrestles as Awesome Kong. And
Have you seen her videos? Have you seen her suplex anybody? Or?
Oh my God. So if you YouTube Awesome Kong, Awesome Bomb, there's a compilation of her signature move, the Awesome Bomb, and I can't believe, just from a gynecological standpoint, how it's possible. It's like a gynecological car accident. And it's the compilation is just over and over and over again. I mean, yes, wrestling is staged, kind of, but it is painful and real. I mean, there's nothing fake about flipping over and landing on your back. Yeah, my knees and hips and shit, they creak and sing in ways that they did not
It
last
takes a lot
year.
of physicality. I mean, and you
Yes.
guys are pulling off these moves. You guys actually did these moves, and there are some
Yep.
compromising situations they put you through. I mean, do you have a couple favorites or a couple of the ones that you were a little
Yes.
dreading?
I mean, there was one called the Sunset Flip where Allison, I would punch her in the stomach to get her sort of keeled over and ready for it. And so she's bent over, and then I run at her and jump over her and then pull her down into a flip. It's hard to explain. But we
I
realized.
can have you demonstrate it, so don't worry about that. Yes.
We will, especially now. We realized in practice that the key was for me to credit card her butt with my face. Not a hit against the butt, like a full swipe. And I first did it on the very strong and masculine Chavo Guerrero Jr., my boss, essentially. And I squeegeed my face through his ass and then stood up, and he avoided eye contact for 2 days. It's I'm so sorry, Chavo. I'm sorry. It was...
Were there did you watch anything go wrong as far as the moves, or were you guys just having a blast? It sounds like it was a pretty fun experience.
It was amazing. No, nothing went wrong crazily, and especially because, wrestling is designed to do once for 12 minutes, and we would shoot wrestling matches for 12 hours sometimes. And I can't believe that none of us got injured. We would save certain moves for... You'd be like, okay, I only have 6 body slams in me. Tell me what angle you're going to use or what size shot you're going to use, because we'll just walk around that part.
Did
for
you
the
know
wide.
when you were at Fordham that you'd be saying, I only have 6 body slams in me?
We were doing some pretty weird stuff at Fordham. We were birthing balls of light, and while we were
Part of the course.
Yeah, a lot of crying about our childhoods. It all led to this, sensically.
In the
Wow.
outfits, what was that like going through that process? Did the costume director just hand you something, or did you have a little input? Or
No, Beth Morgan was the costume designer, and it really felt like across the board in hair, makeup, costumes, writing, everything, that everyone did, the crappy cop shows to get to their passion project. In every department, it's like their, I guess swan song means your last project. It's like your letter, your love letter to what you do. And Beth Morgan really, the 80s clothes, this is kind of the positive side of 80s clothes, but she was true to the tragic side of 80s clothes. I wear a brown silk tracksuit in one episode that is just devastating. And some of Allison's clothes as Ruth are there was a teal windbreaker that people who were teenagers in the 80s would see, crew members. They'd kind of catch her and be like, oh my God, and go into a
back to
dark
that time.
memory. Yeah.
so you didn't snag anything from set, is what you're saying?
I did not. Debbie wears a lot of mohair beaded sweaters that I got really into, but yeah, had to leave those behind.
You didn't find yourself walking around in public with those costumes on?
No, I mean the Capizio tights that we all wore under our wrestling costumes, they make your legs look really shiny, and that was fun. But no, on the weekends, because I'm in full Kardashian war paint, as you see, the weekends, my off time, I was like, I am going to wear colonial pajamas and nothing on my face and sit inside. Yeah, and
I mean, obviously the wrestling moves and the design and the decor and the costumes, you know, those are going to bring people in. But there's a great story here. I mean, there's a lot of great sensitive, you know, topics, you know, sexism in that era and
Yes.
everything like that. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think about researching
yes.
that?
Well, I've done a lot of research of sexism as an actress, a lot of undercover
it.
work. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that the sexists of the world will come for the butts and stay for the narratives. I'm hoping that my, boobs that are the size of pudding-filled manatee pups can be the Trojan horse that gets into the man brains of the sexists and then explode into stories of Planned Parenthood and equality. And yeah, there'll be
I feel
nothing
like
that
that's
they can do to
Netflix's
stop
next
me.
trailer right there. I feel like they should just cut you saying that. That would be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that. And you know, on that note, you know, what was it like working with Marc Maron?
On that note, what was it like working with Marc Maron?
I'm joking there. I'm joking.
no,
Obviously, he's a blast.
Yeah, I mean, he's exactly how you would picture him. In one moment, he's, you know, the curmudgeon-y sea captain, and then in the next, he's, you know, the sweetest little boy on Christmas morning, and that's who he is inside. And I love that man so dearly.
Yeah, he's
And he's so good on this show. He's so good on this show. I think people are going to freak out. I mean, I sort of rolled my eyes. I was like, oh, great, a stand-up comic actor. Like, he's just going to be doing bits and not taking it seriously. He is playing this part from his core with every cell in his body. And he's an amazing actor.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a fan of his work on Maron, which is another, you know, show that's on
Yes.
Netflix as well. But this is the
Yeah.
first time he's sort of doing a role, which is interesting. I'm
Yes,
sure he was a bit
yeah.
nervous as well.
He says he was nervous, but he had it handled. I mean, yeah, he's got it covered.
Do you ever find him like interviewing you podcast style, you know, at the coffee?
Well, Allison and I did his podcast. We did WTF a couple months ago. It just came out yesterday, I think. Yeah, so he did interview
You've been
us
to the
podcast
garage,
style.
you know, the Barack Obama.
I mean,
sort of, yeah.
I have to say, it's the nicest looking garage I've ever seen. A car hasn't been in there in a long time. It felt more like a treehouse on the ground. So a house.
As far, you know, other than Maron and Allison, that's great. Other than Maron and Allison, have you guys all been staying in touch now? Are you guys all excited for the show to come out?
Yes, there's a Glow WhatsApp group chat that is
International,
truly
good WhatsApp.
never ending.
I like that.
I wake up every morning to a message from each of these women, and then I message them. It's like a human centipede of messaging that will never stop.
Who's the best
until we
messenger,
die.
and who's all about memes? And why don't you just call
I would
everybody
say
out here?
Brittany is sort of the lead messenger. She's sort of our WhatsApp captain. But there's a lot of pictures, I mean, it's been incredible. Yeah.
And, you know, talking about shows coming out, I mean, this has got a lot of pizzazz to it. You know, also American.
Pizzazz.
I love that, and American Gods does as well. I mean, those are two, you know, great characters and great series. I mean, what was it like filming that show?
Yeah, I feel like I had a similar experience acting-wise on Glow and American Gods. I don't know, I turned 30 last year, and I just made this pact with myself of I'm not going to take the note anymore to make smaller faces or to do a take where you just say the words. Like a lot of times you come up with I come up with ideas in my room, and I'm going to take a big swing and cross my eyes and to do something crazy, and then they'll be like, that's great. Let's just get one where you just say the words. And so I'll do one being like, what time, officer? And that's the one they use all the time. And I just, I'm all done being tiny squinty.
Yeah, and talking about great casts and great wardrobes, I mean, that show as well. I mean, who did you get to work with on that? That was particularly moving.
Yeah, Emily Browning is an amazing actor, and I loved my scenes with her. You know, she plays a zombie version of herself. Played my zombie best friend, and I somehow related to it.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
What's coming up next for you now that this is wrapped? Hopefully a season 2 for Glow.
Well, we don't know. But this summer I'm working on a movie called Isn't It Romantic? And it's about rom-coms. Rebel Wilson plays a girl who hates rom-coms, gets hit in the head, and wakes up in a dream rom-com world. So
Sounds like a perfect plot right there.
yes, it's kind of a love letter to love-hate letter to the rom-coms that made us believe that, you know, love is Hugh Grant biting his lip, listing your traits in an adorable way in a corduroy blazer. And it's just a lie.
So who's the fall guy? Who's the guy who has to play the Hugh Dancy?
I think Liam Hemsworth is
Okay,
the
okay,
Hugh
yeah, he'll
Dancy?
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We have a couple woos here in the
a
audience.
couple woos. Great.
And Rebel, have you gotten to work with her before? I mean, she's a great
No,
improv
I never have.
and
I mean,
playwright.
Allison worked with her on How to Be Single. I haven't met her yet. I'm so excited. Yeah.
I mean, as far as doing movies like that versus, you know, shows like this, I mean, what kind of stuff are you getting into? Is it kind of whatever fits the bill?
Yeah, whatever fits the bill of making the biggest faces possible and being the clown monster falling down the stairs playing the accordion. That's kind of my inner monologue.
I mean, you guys have a big LA premiere coming up. I think that's tomorrow,
Yes,
right?
tomorrow.
So that's got to be exciting. Are you guys going to actually sit through and watch it? Are you going to go escape and do dinner? Or?
No, I feel like it's the cool thing to do to be like, we're not going to watch, we're going to have a fancy dinner, but we're all so excited. I think we'll just probably cry through it like we did. They showed it to us on set midway through shooting. They showed us the pilot, and we were sobbing next to like the crew guys who were like, I can't believe I have to give up my lunch to watch. But we were really excited.
No, the show is so great. I think we have some questions out in the audience, so we're going to start right there.
Hey, Betty.
Hi.
I was wondering, for American Gods, had you read the book at all before working on the show, and did you get to meet Neil Gaiman before?
I did get to meet Neil Gaiman, but only at the premiere. I had no idea that American Gods existed or what it was.
It's a movement. It is
a movement. And I actually auditioned for Laura Moon first. And then they were like, she made too many faces, but Laura Moon has a drunk best friend who you would be perfect for. But no, I read it once I got the part and was amazed. I can't believe he wrote it in 2001. I think it feels so current. Yeah.
They've got a season 2. They got that announced. It's amazing. American
Yes.
Gods.
Yeah. I mean, we only got, a couple hundred pages into the book. We have a long way to go.
A lot of material there. Okay, next question.
Hi.
I was just curious, are there any like wrestling moves that you're willing to try but you can't try yet because they won't let you, or because you just want to save them for yourself? Oh, you haven't like attempted them yet?
Yeah, tons of wrestling. A lot of season 1 is about us being bad at wrestling and learning how to wrestle and coming to wrestling as non-wrestlers, as the Real Glow Ladies did. So I'm hoping that if we get a season 2, my dream is to come back and be able to do backflips and all that stuff. But a lot of the stuff that we would pitch to Chavo and say, I want to stand on top of the turnbuckle and do a backflip onto her, they'd be like, well, that move wasn't invented until 1992. Like, it was very true to 80s wrestling. It was far more classic, simple moves. What they can do now is Olympic level. It's insane.
Season 25, then you'll get into those moves.
Oh, my God.
There we go. Okay, one last question right there.
Hi, I was wondering, as an actor, do you prefer like the freedom that Netflix platform allows you, or do you prefer more like a TV structure or network structure?
Yeah, Netflix, it was the first time, the first TV experience that I had that there weren't 10 different people giving you notes. Especially a network show, like one of the big networks, you'll see 10 different people from 10 different departments around Video Village, like looking at your take, and one person will be sent over and they'll be like, okay. Can you play it lighter, but also with a darkness, and smile, but also keep it unsmiling? And, just trying to incorporate 10 different people, like, that contradict each other. And Netflix, it was like, do what you want. There was way more freedom. And I also felt that was because we're on a show run by women. And I felt way braver and like I had a longer leash to go insane, which is conducive to wrestling.
Yeah, well, that freedom paid off, and everybody should check out Glow on Netflix this Friday. So binge watch it. There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, Betty. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.